Hello, it's Rebecca and today is another book review day, and this is my 19th book that I have read for the 2015 reading challenge. I will put a little link down below in the description box to explain what the challenge is all about, but basically you just have to read 52 books over a year with each book coming from a different category. And the category that I've been reading from this time around is a book written by an author that you haven't read before. So the book that I've been reading is The Distance by Helen Giltrow. So I will read you the blurb and then talk to you a bit about the book. Charlotte Alton has put her old life behind her. The life where she bought and sold information, unearthing secrets buried too deep for anyone else to find, or fabricating new identities for people who need their histories erased. But now she's been offered one more job. To get a hitman into an experimental new prison and take out someone who, according to the records, isn't there at all. It's impossible. A suicide mission. And quite possibly a setup. So why can't she say no? The reason I chose this book was because of the author. Not a relation to me, but I was just curious. There are very few Giltrows that I know, and when I stumbled across this one by Helen Giltrow, I thought I would see what it was like. I was severely disappointed. I cannot even begin to tell you how awful this book is. I've read some bad books, I really have, but there's always been a redeeming feature, such as it might not be very well written, but the premise of the plot and the storyline are quite good, or vice versa. It's a boring book, but fantastically written, so you can get lost in the language and the way that people speak and the descriptions and all that kind of stuff. This contains nothing of any merit whatsoever. And I hate saying that about books because I know how difficult it is to write a book. But this author just, I just can't even understand how this got published. It is dreadful. This is the author's first book, but the story reads as though a lot has happened before that we need to know about, but we're only given snippets and clues and hints that we can't blend together, which makes it very difficult to understand what's going on. There are at least 20 characters, and it's so difficult to keep track of who's who and what their job is and what's going on and why they're there. There are two main characters, Carla and Johansson, and the book is divided up with alternate chapters from the point of view of either Carla or Johansson. Carla is a woman who works with criminals and she buys and sells information. She has a few different identities. That's all I can really gauge from her. Johansson is a murderer and he is also a hitman. Well, I guess they're one and the same really, aren't they? And he has been offered a job to go into a prison, which isn't really like a prison. It's like a giant compound with shops and houses and various things that make it look like a town, but it's maximum security. So the gates get locked. Once you're in, you're in. But you basically have to take care of yourself while you're in there. And this is known as the program. And it's where really awful criminals go. So it's the murderers, serial killers, all that kind of stuff. Those type of people are in there. Extremely dangerous people. And there is someone in there that Johansson has been paid to kill, and he needs to go in and find her. And Carla's on the outside, kind of providing him with information and trying to work things out. But it's so boring. It really is boring. And this one has been classed as a thriller. And the only thrilling thing was when I got to the end and I finally realised I'd finished. And I was so happy. I was going to give up reading this many times. But I thought, no, I'm doing this for a challenge. I don't want to quit a book. I don't want to feel like I've wasted a category. But I feel like I've wasted my time. This has taken me probably over 2 weeks to read. And it was draining. none of the characters, apart from the main two, Johansson and Carla, none of them stand out. So you've got all these different characters and all these different names coming up, and you're thinking, I don't know who that person is, because we needed this backstory. The person that Johansson has gone into the programme to locate has killed someone, but we're not sure who really, or why, or what has gone on there. We don't know who he's been hired by in order to kill her. Carla gets herself into lots of situations that are very unnecessary. She gets herself kidnapped and she leaves a trail of dead people behind her that she hasn't killed, but because of her actions, people that were in hiding have then been exposed and were killed. And it just feels like, I don't know, the author had an idea in her head and she wrote down in so many words with such small amount of detail as to what was going on. I started reading this actually at the beginning of the year, and I read about 50 pages and I thought, I haven't got a clue what is actually happening, because there's no real information about this backstory that we need to know about. We need to know how and why these people are here now. There's no point in just giving little brief bits of information that we as a reader can't piece together. I know you as the author have all these things in your head, but you have to put everything down because the reader can't see inside your mind. And it really just feels like she knows what's going on, but she doesn't want to let us know what's going on. And I can't understand why. And I'm reading through and passages are just sliding over my head because I can't pinpoint who these characters are. I can't remember what relation they are to whoever's experiencing them now or why they're being talked about now. There's just too much going on, but also nothing going on at the same time. This is such a strange collection of words. It's not enjoyable. None of the characters are likeable. You can't empathise or relate to anybody. They're very two-dimensional, and we really need the backstory. We need to understand who these people were before now, because it doesn't make any sense. And I cannot recommend this, and I am so upset that I didn't enjoy this because my surname is attached to this book and I'm very proud of my surname and I'm very proud of my writing, and I like to think that I'm trying to cater for people, for them to understand what's going on inside my head. And I know I'm not the best author in the world, and I'm not pretending to be anything other than just a regular writer. But I am saddened that someone who shares my very unusual surname has written something this dreadful, and somebody has thought that it's good and published it. Lee Child has got a little quote on the back. I don't know how accurate this is. Fast, hard, and very, very good. It's not fast. It's so slow. I was reading this at work, and after every chapter I had to close it, and I would moan, and everyone sitting at the table kept saying to me, why are you reading this if it's making you behave this way after every chapter? And I said, I just want to read it. I want to see that it gets better. But it's slow, it's ploddy, it's confusing, it doesn't make sense, and it feels extremely pointless. Do not read this book. So this is a book from the category of a book written by an author that I've never read before, and I will never read again. I feel like I've wasted so much time with this book. It is dreadful. But if you would like to hear any of my other book reviews, and I do read some really good books, unfortunately this wasn't one of them, then please subscribe to my channel where I put new videos out after every time I've read a book. I also do some shameless self-promotion where I talk about my own writing, and I sometimes give writing advice. So if you're interested in reading and or writing, then please subscribe to my channel. Have a good day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.